Hello, I'm United States Senator Saxby Chambliss, and welcome to our YouTube report. This week's been a very slow week in Washington. We've had very few votes. There's been a lot of negotiation behind the scenes going on to try to come up with a way forward on a small business bill. Small business is the heart and soul of the economy of this country, and it's unfortunate that the Democrats are not going to allow the Republicans to have any amendments on the small business bill that's now on the floor of the Senate. That's not right. There's some good provisions in this bill. There are some tax provisions in here that will help businesses to grow and will allow you to go out and employ people that are now unemployed. But there are ways that we can make this bill better. There are also a number of provisions in this bill that are not good for business. So it's important that we work in a bipartisan way to try to address the woes in the economy of the United States today, and frankly that's not happening in the Senate today. Otherwise, we're looking forward to a vote next week on an energy bill. Senator Reid has put forth an energy bill that again has some good provisions in it, but also has some very negative provisions in it. For example, he wants to eliminate the $75 million cap on liability for those who drill offshore. Now that sounds like that may be a good idea, particularly with what's going on in the Gulf right now. But what we'll do is we will remove the ability of any small business in the gas and oil business from being able to go into the Gulf and drill, because they simply won't have the cash assets to be able to put up the funds necessary to cover the liability. And these are companies that have been drilling in the Gulf for years and years and have never had a problem, and companies who will do it in the right way. There's a way that we can address this going forward, but unfortunately Senator Reid is not willing to do that. There's also a provision in his bill that moves us forward with natural gas powered vehicles. I support that 100%. I think it's the right thing to do. In fact, Senator Richard Burr and I have a bill that does exactly that, and we will in all likelihood have an amendment to the Reid bill that will seek to clarify the natural gas powered automobile provisions, because what we would like to see is a mandate on manufacturers of 18-wheel vehicles to make them powered by natural gas. When we do that, the infrastructure will follow that mandate. And I assure you that if we have 18-wheelers that are powered with natural gas, it will be cleaner, they'll be more efficient, and we'll have the infrastructure in place to fuel those vehicles all across America in a short period of time, not in the long period of time that it takes today. Our bill also focuses on nuclear power resource from an electric production standpoint. And we encourage the production of electricity from nuclear power. We also encourage the recycling of the nuclear waste, which is something we don't do in America today. They've done it for decades in both France and Britain. And I hate to say that we ought to be emulating the French, but in this case, that's exactly what we ought to be doing. I've been to their facilities. They've never had an accident in their recycling process, and it's something that we as America really ought to be doing with our nuclear waste. Lastly, what our bill does is it encourages also the powering of vehicles by electricity. It's a very long-term project, both from the standpoint of powering vehicles by natural gas as well as electricity. But we've got to start somewhere, and if we will do it in the right way, what we can do over a period of the next couple of decades is to wean ourselves off of foreign imports of oil. Today we buy about 60% of our oil offshore. Most of it comes from countries that don't like us, and we are sending money to the Middle East, to South America, and other parts of the world, and in all probability the money that we are sending is going to foster and promote terrorism against the United States. So it makes sense that we move in the direction of becoming energy independent, and with the bill that Senator Burr and I have put together, we can move in the direction of doing exactly that. Well, it's always good to be with you, and we'll be back next week to talk about another subject that's front and center in the United States Senate.